Alright, so now let's move on to the next mode in terms of mount minigames, and this one appears to be sports and puzzles.
Now, technically, we've already experienced one of those puzzle minigames, which is, of course, Mario's Puzzle Party, thanks to the forms of the regular Mario Party mode.
So we figure we might as well able to show that minigame off again, because as you can see, not only do we get ourselves the dual variation of that particular minigame, but also we get ourselves the score tag version of that minigame as well. So, as you can tell, that it's basically in this mode right here, you basically play certain sports games based off from, well, one of them is based off from Mario Party 4, and the other one was based off from Mario Party 5, and another one was actually based off from Mario Party 9 of all things. And on top of all that stuff though, the majority of the puzzle minigames that is actually based off from Mario Party 3, like we already mentioned this several times in the past, but there was also one of them from Mario Party 6, and the last one right here was actually based off from Mario Party 7, so
yeah, let's get this thing to it with the actual sports themselves. So first off we have is Beach Volley Frolly.
And obviously this is based off of Mario Party 4, or technically Mario Party 5 as well, clearly because you're able to go for the exactly the same minigame structure-wise, but ultimately though we're able to go through 7 points, because that will take far too long if you're most able to set it into 14 points or 21 points or whatever, so we're just trying to able to go for a 7-point match. So basically though, all you have to do is basically you have to win about 7 points, and whoever receives 7 points by the end of the game is the winner. So
yeah, that's basically how this minigame plays out to be, so
however though, we'll have to admit it though right away, I think what Yana was already mentioned about this ever since in the Let's Play of Mario Party 4, that we're not exactly great at this minigame, clearly because of multiple factors. For one, sometimes the actual, the targeting cursor feels a bit too random for my taste.
And on top of all that stuff though, unlike the top 100 version of this minigame, because yes, this minigame also brought back from the likes of the forms of the top 100 version,
although except the fact that in the top 100 version is actually pretty easy and self-explanatory, thanks to the forms of, in the forms of if you're trying to go through Minigame Island. Well, basically though, is the fact that if you're trying to able to complete that minigame in Minigame Island, then basically though certain CPU players, oh god, I could imagine if I was trying to able to play Minigame Island in hard mode in the top 100, oh god, that would be hellish, especially because you have to go with hard computer players, or even in some cases master difficulty computer players. I mean, that will take a very long time to get through, so
yeah, I highly doubt it, especially noticeable you don't get anything rewarding if you manage able to complete hard mode in Minigame Island, as far as I'm aware.
So anyway though, today's day is of course the 13th of November today, in this case in 2022, here and there today. So again, not much else to talk about, apart from the fact that, well, as far as what Sonic and Mighty have already mentioned about this briefly, from the likes of the forms of Warrior Master of Disguise, and oh dang, it looks like we're not doing very well at this. It's probably because, not only because, depending on the computer players, they're doing super well in this minigame, especially, well, thankfully there's no tournament or anything else like that.
But there's also the way that you can able to actually play certain, well, sports and puzzle minigames on your own time, for the sake of the online play, if you managed able to have some bit of distraction and what have you, so
well, ultimately speaking though, Pinkie Pie, is the fact that there's actually the ranking system. Like, depending on how well you do for certain sports or puzzle minigames here and there, basically though is the fact that you could able to actually potentially try to increase certain points. That way you can able to increase your rank value. So there's the D rank. I think you start things off with the D rank to start off with.
And on top of all that stuff though, you pretty much guarantee that you would be able to go all the way up to S rank or something like this?
Well, it's kind of similar to the forms of how it does it on Mario Kart Tour, essentially, when it comes to the ranking system, but either way though, yeah, we're not exactly great at this minigame, just because, again, it's just so hard to control in this sometimes, but at least we did decently at best. Like, we go up to 3 points, so that's something.
Yeah, I suppose that's pretty much about it for this for the most part. So now let's move on to the next minigame, which is based off from Mario Party 5. This is Ice Hockey.
And of course, that minigame is also brought back in the top 100. So, Except this time around though is the fact that obviously with some visuals have been a massive upgrade, so...
Yeah, basically all you have to do here is basically you have to score points in the actual scoring of the net, and whoever receives the most scores until when the time limit runs out will win a game.
So, let's see if we can able to actually just win this though, no matter what though. So yeah, something's worth mentioning though, and also we set the actual minigame as in 3 minutes, and also as you can see we decided able to play as Princess Daisy this time around, because we figured we was able to play another one of those female characters or what have you, similar to Rosalina, so we can figure we can able to actually just to do just that, so...
Anywho though,
yeah, let's talk about the forms of the actual discussions by this point. I suppose that I believe Sonic and Mighty have already mentioned about this earlier ago, from the sake of the forms of the Warrior Master of Disguise Let's Play, that basically though, unfortunately though, that I'm unhappy to report that relatively speaking though, happy, or should I say, unhappy, 10th anniversary of the release of Paper Mario Sticker Star. Well, it's not a terrible game, it's not the worst game I ever played, but oh my god, this is really screwed up compared to the classics. Like, usually relatively speaking though, they just somehow, it's like the beginning of the Dark Age, or to be more specifically, a downfall of Paper Mario, despite the fact that we're relatively speaking though. But I'm sure that both Sonic and Mighty have already mentioned about this already, so I don't think I should probably be able to explain this all over again, so...
But for now on though, let's talk about the positives though, shall we?
Yeah, such as for instance, that about the fact the matter is though, we actually getting ourselves not one, not two, but three separate DLCs for the sake of the forms of, well, usually as far as I'm aware, they have 3 DLCs so far for the sake of the forms of Mario Plus Rapid Sparks of Hope already, and that usually comes in with the forms of the Season Pass. And relatively speaking though, all it gets in here, we actually got ourselves DLC 1, which actually contains, let's just say a side mode of any sort, which is called the Tower of Doom. And basically, I think in this one is the fact that it's all about the endurance test when it comes to likely whoever receives the high score, about trying to go for a serious amount of floors or something. And I believe that particular first pack of that particular DLC is going to be releasing until early next year in 2023. And in fact, the majority of the DLC of Mario Plus Rapid Sparks of Hope is going to be releasing in during the forms of 2023, similar to the forms of the second half of the forms of you know, Mario Kart 8 DLC, or Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass DLC, so...
Yeah, because we still have no idea when the third wave is going to be releasing as far as at this point in time, but we'll see what happens in due time, so...
And also I just realized about the fact that the Mario and Luigi are almost going close when it comes to like scoring a score. Oh no! Ah, drat.
Well, 3-0, and also the clock is still ticking, so...
I'm afraid we're gonna have to able to take a tie on this one, because I believe that, well, we did well in the first few seconds, but then eventually that Mario and Luigi did manage to take over, so... Oh well, we'll take a draw anyway, but at least we did play alright, so nothing too aggressive or something, so...
Yeah, I guess it's that, I suppose.
So now let's go ahead and move on to the last sporty minigame on this entire thing itself, and this one appears to be Shell Soccer, and this is obviously based off of Mario Party 9, where basically your objective in this minigame right here is the fact that in each side of the goals, basically there are 7 Goombas in each goal, and basically it's your job to able to get rid of all 7 of those Goombas by the end of the game is the winner, so...
Yeah, basically this time around though, we can now able to maneuver around with the control stick this time, as opposed to the directional pad.
So, relatively speaking though, it's just the fact that it kind of feels very similar to the original counterparts, except with the forms of, you know, richer visuals, and because Toad is no longer being playable this time, so that means about the fact that, well, imagine if Donkey Kong is going to play this particular minigame right here. You know, as we already mentioned this before, we're super pleased about the fact that Donkey Kong now finally get a chance to experience certain Mario Party 5 minigames, 6, 7, 8, and 9 of those minigames as far as... I apologize for my confusion dialogue right there, because I'm just felt a little bit too tired today. Well, nothing drastically tired though, so in this case though, there's not much else to on about for the sake of, like, convenience, that is, I suppose. So,
And also I just realized is the fact that they no longer show us the Nintendo sign, so...
yeah, I have no idea why they managed able to get rid of that little detail, so, oh well, no big deal, so we're just gonna have to, like, play aggressively before it comes to likely receiving the shell and stuff, and hopefully we're able to score one of those goals, or something like that, or knock out certain Goombas throughout. Actually, kind of thinking about it, one thing I do like about the forms of, you know, Mario Party Superstars, though, is the fact that they actually obviously contains two different, football-based minigames. Like, we have one of them based off of Mario Party 4, and then now we have another one based off of Mario Party 9, which was originally located in the Extras menu, so,
yeah, alongside with Goomba Bowling, alongside with the forms of Castle Clearout, even though it's kind of a shame that Castle Clearout doesn't exist in this game anyway.
Well, technically it does have its reskinned counterparts during the course of 51 worldwide classics and stuff like that, which did came out on the Switch during the forms of 2 years ago.
Oh yeah, during the forms of the lockdown.
Oh please, don't mention about that again, because, well, we're just gonna have to move on.
Oh, sorry, I just felt a little bit too hasty when it comes to mentioning some bad news and stuff like that, which, honestly, not much else to write to home about, I guess.
And by the way, something's worth mentioning for this point, Pinkie Pie, there's a lot of Let's Plays of Mario Party Superstars 24/7.
Oh yeah, as far as I've noticed something right off the start though.
Like, for instance, about the fact that, well, I do notice right from the get-go, though, is the fact that it happens during the forms of well, whenever I managed able to watch several other Let's Plays who are also doing Mario Party Superstars, it's relatively speaking, though, it's just the fact that, well, I've got not much else to talk about, because I know for the fact that it's been a very long while since I actually did done some of my commentary on this game, especially noticeable to talk about this game in general, but either way, though, it knows what it is, I guess.
Okay, so now we've actually shown off every single minigames based off of Mario Party 4,
as well as the forms of, well, there might be a couple of exceptions here and there, but either way, though, we'll have to able to double check on the list as far as this is concerned.
So yeah, basically, there was also the dual version of Mario's Puzzle Party,
where basically you can able to actually face off against with one of those opponents, and as you can see, you can actually set your points counter up to like 100 to 1000 points, which you can also do that on the forms of the regular free play mode as well, if you decided to. But for now, we're focusing on the next minigame we can show off, and that's what appears to be Block Star. And this is obviously based off of Mario Party 6, where basically all you have to do is basically you have to connect the exact same colored blocks as the actual star was actually shown. And then basically though is the fact that, well, it's hard to explain with how this minigame plays out. It's probably because it's been a very long while since I actually last experienced this minigame, since when I first played the original version of this minigame. And yes, also during the forms of that time though, this minigame was also brought back ever since in the top 100 as well.
Even though, again, the noticeable difference this time around though is of course, visuals have been massive upgrades than the forms of it does in the 3DS counterpart, so...
And on top of all that stuff though, with a different font, and of course, Donkey Kong is finally getting a chance to experience this minigame, like we already said this so many times, so... And as you can see, we're not doing that very great at this minigame as far as this is concerned. Well, unlike its other counterparts, which appears to be body forms of, well, again, hard to explain really, because either way though, I haven't exactly experienced this minigame for such a long time. Since 2021, whenever we managed able to, like, experience this on the original version on Mario Party 6, but that way you can able to actually unlock that particular rare minigame if you ever managed able to complete Astro Avenue solo board, where basically if you land on the rare minigame space, then you're able to get this minigame, so... At least as far as I'm aware.
But there's also the 2-player version on that as well, where you can able to get that in the forms of in a starback mode. So, yeah, everything else will be pretty much expected by that point, so, you know.
So I suppose that's that. That ends off very quickly and fast. So now let's move on to the next minigame on this entire lineup, and that's what appears to be Stick and Spin. And this is obviously based off of Mario Party 7, because obviously with the game's logo is represented with. And on top of all that stuff though, all you have to do in this minigame here is the fact that we need to once again connect the same color as the other. So again, I think the last time we actually played Stick and Spin was actually whenever I managed to be able to play Mario Party 7, whenever I experienced the original version on this as well.
So, relatively speaking though, there's now multiple versions of not just by the forms of Mario's Puzzle Party, well, mind you about the fact that we're now on to 3 versions of, well, Mario's Puzzle Party, but there's also, 4 different versions of not only Blockstar, but also Stick and Spin as well.
Oh yeah, because not only that Blockstar does make a return from the likes of the top 100 and this, but it also does return from the likes of the forms of Mario Party DS as well, being the forms of the puzzle collection mode.
Oh yeah, that's the only thing I forgot to mention about this for some reason, so
in fact, relatively speaking though, I don't know if I might be able to do a redo Let's Play of Mario Party DS personally, just because, well, despite the quality itself is okay enough, however though, for the commentary wise, it's not the strongest point of view, so either way though, that's all I can honestly try to think about it, so...
Anywho though, yeah, we still managed able to play Sonic Frontiers on our own time, just for sure about the fact that we can able to practice that game until whenever we get to our Let's Play of the game at some point until next year, so...
Because by that time until whenever we get to 2024, on the other hand though, Pinkie Pie, well mind you, I'm probably not going to mention more details about when it comes to 2024, just because, you know, we're still entering the forms of, well, we're still on 2022, of course, but, relatively speaking though, there's not much else I can honestly try to explain about the forms of other details worth noting for, but, that's just how it is when it comes to, like, mentioning some other things here and there, so...
But I digress.
But, yeah, it's kind of a shame about the fact that in between the forms of Bob-on Breakers from the likes of in Mario Party 4, as well as, Peace Out from Mario Party 5, those are the only puzzle minigames that have never been brought back since Mario Party DS, so...
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure that Bob-on Breakers or, Peace Out only appears twice throughout the series, so...
Yeah, I'm guessing it's probably because about the fact that, well, it's hard to explain of why these minigames never brought back, but either way though, it knows what it is, I guess, so...
But again, you can't exactly experience those puzzle minigames or certain sports-based minigames in a regular Mario Party mode just because it might take a bit too long, so I guessing the reason why that they decided to go for that because of its length, so...
Well, that's probably is the perfect example of why these minigames are only existent in junior forms of the Melt minigames, for not only if you can able to actually play as offline, but also with local play, but also online play as well. If, God forbid, if you manage to become expert at the games themselves when it comes to puzzle minigames, it's just for a nice distraction, I guess. However, if you really want to get the achievements on these specific minigames, like, we weren't gonna do it on our own time for a bit. That is the fact that, as you probably already know, ever since the original counterpart of not just by the forms of Blockstar, but also with Stick and Spin as well, if you ever experienced the single player version of some of these minigames, there was actually a level progressioning system, where basically though is the fact that the more you're able to do well enough on certain stages coming up, then basically it gets a bit tough and difficult in certain obstacles, or in some cases though, some objectives needs to be required or anything, although I think I should probably mention more about it until whenever we get to that point, so...
Yeah, and same applies with you know, the single player version of Mario's Puzzle Party, or if I like to call it, an equivalent to Mario's Puzzle Party Pro from the likes of the original Mario Party 3 counterpart.
Although, I remember that dreaded unlocking requirement for that Mario's Puzzle Party Pro, and that is the fact that you have to go through Game Guy's sequence while you're trying to spend about, you have to reach out for about 1,000 coins, which let me tell you, it is extremely luck based, and especially noticeable, it's just a pain to able to actually get that last darn minigame to be unlocked somehow. But either way though, that's as far as saying goes. I think that's as far as I can usually try to describe about this, I guess. So, but I digress. So anyways, let's talk about the forms of, another thing I would like to mention before we decide able to mention more about the forms of Mario Plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope Season Pass DLC has been revealed. During new forms within the Mega Man, you know, sales records, as far as at this point in time, at this point, is that Mega Man 11, although despite the fact that we did lost on that minigame somehow, but whatever, it's just for bragging rights, I guess, if you really want to compete with not only CPU players, but also with, competitive online gamers as well, so, I guess that's that.
So I suppose we now show off the forms of the score attack versions of certain minigames. So, for instance, let's head on to the forms of Mario's Puzzle Party. So in this case though, we're gonna have to do this by ourselves.
And as you can see, we need to go ahead and get the high score within 3 minutes. So you can't actually increase the actual limited of time for about 5 or few minutes, so it's always going to be stick around with 3 minutes. However, here's the real challenge to this particular minigame, I find, is the challenges or achievements you can get. There's actually a grand total of 2 achievements each, when it comes to likely the majority of the puzzle minigames here and there. To get one of them, specifically in Mario's Puzzle Party right here, in order to able to get the 2 achievements in this minigame right here, is that you have to get up to 300 points and 600 points within 3 minutes. And I was like, oh my god, are you gonna make me do the hardest parts of the game? Oh jeez, I was not expecting that actually, because whenever I first found out that, I was like, oh my god, we're getting the forms of Bear's repeating level from Crash Bandicoot 4 sometimes. But that's only mainly because certain achievements sometimes feels a bit extremely difficult to achieve, but regardless of such though, I don't think there's anything else rewarding aside from, well, I'll point things out whenever we get to the final video of this entire Let's Play of Mario Party Superstars, whenever we get to close to the very end of this entire month of November, so...
Well, spoiler alert, it might well be, so... Anyway, what are you trying to say about the forms of something related to Mega Man?
Oh yeah, in addition about the fact that while one of those games has now been replaced, becoming the forms of one of the best-selling games of all time, but also they did reveal the forms of the 35th anniversary icon for Rockman, or Mega Man for the English versions. And for you see the details of it though, it just looks bland. Like, no, don't get me wrong, I don't mind the actual look, but it's just the fact that it's nowhere near as detailed as the forms of how it does it on its 10th anniversary logos, and 15th anniversary logo, or the 20th anniversary, or the 25th, or the 30th anniversary logo, because I will say, the 30th anniversary logo of Mega Man is actually cool looking, because the 0 represents Mega Man's helmet, which is actually a cool touch, and as far as I'm aware, 10th anniversary shows us the classic Mega Man's head, because obviously with Mega Man 8, did roll around on the PlayStation / Sega Saturn, so in some cases though is the fact that I just have no idea why they managed to come up something like this when it comes to like the most simplistic design for Mega Man's 35th anniversary logo. Well, usually relatively speaking though, that I don't know, it's hard to explain really, so might be biased I guess when it comes to likely for its highly detailed visual standpoint as far as that's been concerned with, but either way though, that's far as saying much, so oh well, at least it does its job I guess. And I just realized we're getting so close to 300 points mark, but the only toughest part about the forms of this minigame sometimes, in terms of achievements grinding, well basically though, you have to be super master at it, and not only just mastering it, but also it's all about memorization and the randomness is involved, so...
Oh well, no big deal, but at least we did show this off anyway, so...
Anyway, so now let's move on to the single-player version of Blockstar. Now, the thing is with Blockstar, alongside with Stick and Spin as well, in order to able to get those 2 achievements in these 2 minigames respectively, it's all about level progressioning. So in this case though, is the fact that in order to get those achievements, you have to reach level 50 and level 99. And let me tell you, it's gonna be a tedious process. Although thankfully though, you can able to play these minigames on the go, so thankfully it's not a major loss. But, if you dare, like, for example, if we did somehow manage to able to fail the later stage, specifically, for example, level 10 or something, if you dare quit the minigame, you lose your level progression. So in some cases, though, you have to go all the way back to the beginning. So I highly suggest you keep on using continues, and that way, you should able to still able to catch up with the actual level progressioning. So,
yeah, because as far as I'm aware, it can take some bit of time to able to actually get some level progressioning going.
although relatively speaking though, that usually unlike in Mario's Puzzle Party where it comes to like the actual minigame itself in a score tag version, that thankfully it doesn't go too long, but as far as getting to that point, it just feels a bit, well, I don't know what you would call it per se, because I know for the fact that it has been quite some days since I actually looked upon something where it comes to like achievement challenges and stuff like that, but either way though, it's just something I suppose, so... And also, much like the forms of how it does on the original counterpart of this minigame, as you can see, based off of Mario Party 6, alongside with DS and the Top 100 as well, keep an eye out with the actual timer right here, especially with the gauge itself too.
Because as far as I'm aware, that until in the later stages, that you will come across into those clock icons, which basically, if you dare match the actual exactly the same matching color blocks as the forms of one another, then basically though you can able to increase your time limit, so...
Yeah, because that way it actually gives you some bit of time to get into that stuff. However though, much like the forms of how it does in the original Mario Party 6 counterpart of this minigame, alongside with the Top 100 version as well, that when it gets to the 10 seconds mark, basically the music itself gets a lot faster, so in some cases though, unlike in the DS version as far as I'm aware, that the music doesn't speed up, so... Yeah, I can totally see why there are some slight differences or something like that, but either way though. But at least the background looks so magnificently detailed and stuff like that, especially with all this highly detailed grassy fields and all that stuff.
So yeah, it's a massive upgrade to any forms of how it does it on the 3DS counterpart of this, so...
So it looks like we actually got... Oh, that was close.
So yeah, we got to level 8, and I don't think there's that much time we can able to do level 8.
Because, like I already mentioned about this earlier, is the fact that I'm not exactly great at Block Star, in my honest opinion. But either way though, it's just the fact the matter is though that I managed to did try it. So in some cases though, there goes our level 8 run for the sake of the forms of Block Star. But at the very least we got a new record though at least.
Well, mind you, this is our first time playing this particular version of this minigame right here, so
yeah, anyway, so now we've shown that off for Block Star's score attack version. And now let's go ahead and move on to stick and spin score attack. So in some cases though, yeah, there's no level progressioning saved. So you have to start from square one all over again. So, bit of a nuisance anyway, because I'm pretty sure that it kind of does the same thing from the likes of the original version of not only Mario Party 7 Stick and Spin, but also say applies with Puzzle Pillars minigame from the likes of the forms of Mario Party 8, where basically though you can able to continue your level progressioning onto its menu selection, or selection rather, I'm pretty sure. But then, usually in Mario Party 9, that you can able to actually increase your level, so that way you can able to continue where you left off, and thankfully it does manage to save. And same applies to, I would say Star Turn as well, and, well, from Island Tour anyway, and, I think that's about it basically, so,
yeah, I think you pretty much explained well enough as it is, so, anyway, let's get to the forms of another discussions for this point today.
Oh yeah, let's talk about the forms of the continuation of the Mario Plus Rapid Sparks of Hope DLC reveals. Well, already mentioned about the forms of the first DLC that obviously contains is the Tower of Doom, and it's going to be involved around in Face Your Doom in a new combat game mode. So, yeah, I was right, it's just a side mode. So, I'm guessing it's more accurately for online play or something like that. I'm not exactly 100% sure, but either way though, we'll find out and doing at some point until next year. And same applies to the forms of Wave 4 for the likes of Mario Kart 8 DLC, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass DLC series of cups. So.
And the next thing we did actually got for the DLC packs for Mario Plus Rapid Sparks of Hope, and that's what appears to be DLC 2.
Which, it doesn't show the actual logo just yet though, but it does manage to show us a bit of a new planet of any sort. So in some cases though, it did say on the description, it did say, heroes confront a mysterious foe on a new enchanted planet, or enchanting planet. So, relatively speaking, it looks kinda interesting. Although, I'm guessing it's more likely they'll might as well add it in another planet to able to explore around in. So either way though, I cannot wait to see how that's gonna be turned out. Especially noticeable, despite I'm pretty much almost done with Mario Plus Rapid Sparks of Hope. Well, despite the fact that we'll still take a break on that game for a while. Just because, like what Pinkie Pie has already mentioned about this before, we're still about to be playing through Sonic Frontiers for the likes of the forms of not only on the multiple versions throughout, so in some cases though we are still playing the Switch version so we can play the game on the go and all that stuff though.
So, relatively speaking, no, there's not much else to add around here, so anywho.
But I'm sure enough though, both Sonic and Mighty have both already mentioned about the forms of, well, the review scores for the sake of the forms of the Sonic Frontiers games. I don't think we can probably mention about it this again because, well, like I said this before, both Sonic and Mighty have already both mentioned about that stuff, so. Anywho.
So we go with Stick and Spin, as you can see, and the more you progress for the levels, as you can tell,
well, basically though, I do apologize for that particular Belgian I'm afraid, Pinkie Pie.
Oh, gross, Pac-Man, what did you eat?
I can't help it for myself, Pinkie Pie, because I've been eating too many of those pack dogs, so.
Oh, I see, to munch up some more ghosts, huh?
Well, I couldn't help it, you know.
Yeah, I can admit it though, so.
Anyway, so now we're on to level 9, and basically we're now introducing to ourselves these purple balls. So basically though, that the level progression might start to change a bit for the actual mechanics and all that stuff. So relatively speaking though, there's not much else to add. And also as you can see on the center of the number, as you can see, this basically means you have to able to put up with more chain reactions here and there. So that way you can able to actually just build up some more scores here and there. And on top of that, for its level progressioning goes. So anyway, for the DLC 2 for Mario Plus Rapid Sparks of Hope Season Pass, you know, with the forms of the new planet and stuff like that, like like I think I already mentioned about this earlier. I think it does have the release date for it, and it's going to be releasing at some point in the mid-2023. So it could be roughly about E3 time or something like that, but we shall see what happens there. And lastly, the biggest one of them all though is of course DLC 3, which much like the forms of how it does it in, do you even remember the forms of the original Mario Plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle? When it comes to like, you get yourselves the new story expansion for the likes of, you know, with the forms of Donkey Kong Adventure, right?
Yeah, what about it?
Well, basically though, much like the original game, they save the new playable character for last, because you remember the forms of the original game, not only does it reveal Donkey Kong as a playable character, but also Rabbid Cranky as well.
Oh yeah, I do remember that actually.
So, yeah, apparently that's the last DLC of the lineup, which appears to be, well, Rayman is going to be playable, and on top of all that stuff though, it did say on its description right here, it did say Rayman, Rabbid Peach, and Rabbid Mario embark on their own adventure, and it's going to be releasing in June at some point, either late 2023 or early 2024, depending on the forms of the actual development time, so. But we shall see what happens in due time, but honestly, I'm just so excited to see how these things actually turns out to be. So, kind of a shame though that Rayman does not meet up with, well, not only Mario, but also Luigi, Peach, and Bowser, or in some cases though with Edge and Rapid Luigi or Rapid Rosalina, and heck, even especially noticeable with, I think that's about it basically, although I may be if I'm not mistaken here. So in this case though, yeah, that's all I can honestly try and say. But it doesn't bother me too much though, because it's nice to see Rayman again after so many years, for the sake of the forms of after the release of Rayman Legends. In fact, I hardly mentioned about the fact that he will be releasing and during at some point and the 10th anniversary of the release of Rayman Legends for some platforms like, you know, Wii U, PS3, and Xbox 360, and all that stuff.
Oh, I couldn't mention about that, Pac-Man, but again, we shall see what happens in during some form or another, so...
Because sometimes it just takes time for not only its DLC department, but also trying to upgrade the actual visuals here and there. So, again, not much else to add. So, anywho, let's talk about the forms of another thing I want to discuss, is the fact that, do you even remember about the fact that, you notice with the forms of one of those compilation games has already existed, ever since, I think I would say in last year or something, called Neo Geo Pocket Color Selection Volume 1, where apparently though, Volume 2 has recently announced, and apparently though, it's going to be featuring the Mega Man title on there. So in some cases though, I couldn't mention about the fact that the Sonic game will be actually on one of those compilations in the future, like possibly for Volume 3 or something like that. Well, mind you about the fact that I haven't exactly looked upon that much of Neo Geo Pocket Color ever since then, so we shall see. So basically though, I believe the digital version of that particular compilation is actually already came out just recently for about 3 days ago, and yes, that also will feature the physical release and during at some point until on spring next year. So yeah, pretty swell I have to say. So either way though, yeah, it's about time you can now finally play not only the Mega Man game from the likes of that particular compilation, but also more Street Fighter games and Fatal Fury game here and there. Well, despite the fact I haven't exactly, you know, looked upon that much of Neo Geo selections of games for some time, so...
Yeah, I think you probably get the gist of it, so... Oh jeez, these balls can go really fast as far as dropping rate as far as this is concerned.
And also I just realized is the fact that during the forms of some stages every nowadays, that we actually stumbled across a bubble, which in order to able to burst a bubble, you need to able to let one of those, any kind of balls, to able to actually drop into any spots, so...
Yeah, I was wondering about that, but regardless of such though, there's not much else you can say about this minigame right here, and especially no support for this entire video per se, so
although we would have liked able to actually just show off the online version of these kind of modes like this as well, but honestly I think we should probably save the online exclusive stuff and enjoy that at some point until the next weekend, so...
Yeah, I was thinking about that, but still...
So, I suppose that's about it, basically. Oh, have you heard about the fact that the PlayStation VR 2 has actually got its price tag? And it did say, well, I only looked up on the dollars price tag, and for I've double-checked, it actually cost about $549.99.
Holy macaroni! Is that too expensive?
Well, apparently it is gonna get way too expensive every nowadays, especially that, you know, with more technology kind of stuff they now introduced, and on top of all that stuff though, I gotta agree with you, Pinkie Pie, the price tag for the PlayStation VR 2 is ridiculous, like, literally too ridiculous, so...
Yeah, just like the phones of the PlayStation 5, but regardless of such though, it's just that, well, obviously it's still going to be scheduled to be released next year in 2023, so...
Everything else will come by, especially because I highly doubt that it will release around the same time as in Resident Evil 4 Remake is about to be releasing or something, but then again, no, we're not exactly at 2023 just yet, but I'm really hoping that 2023 will be a little bit better than the other 3 years so far in terms of 2020's era. So in some cases though, we shall probably wait and see what happens due time. So and I just realized we've now stumbled across these numbered grey balls, which in order to able to get rid of them, you have to able to pull off a bit of a combo chain reaction and stuff like that. So Oh yeah, there are a couple of times that you will come across into larger variations of certain color balls, and especially noticeable with those teeny tiny variations of certain color balls here and there, but that's besides the point, so... So yeah, best of luck for able to actually get the those 2 achievements if you decide to play through not only Block Star, but also Stick and Spin as well. Because as far as I highly doubt it about the fact that, yeah, let's just finish this off, because we just don't want to make the video too drag on at points. So, there we go. 4,620 points that we actually gotten through, which is quite a lot of points, all things considered. So... and I think that basically does it for Sports and Puzzles mode. So, nice distraction I guess, especially noticeable because, well, again, good luck for trying to gain these achievements if you ever do Score Attack mode. So, yeah, let's go straight out to you right off the bat. So, anyway, so now let's go ahead and leave and grab some more coins. 130 coins that we actually gotten through. No achievements to unlock sadly, because either way though, we are literally quite close with that 300 points mark for Mario's Puzzle Party, so... oh well, we'll try our best on our own time, eventually. So, anyways, that's that. And now let's go ahead and move on to one of those 2 modes that are only accessible when it comes to online play functionality. In some cases, we have Daily Challenge and Survival Mode, and as you can see, they are both caged up. Meaning that, like I said before, these are only accessible in online play, so...
I guess we should probably leave things off here, so join us next weekend for more Let's Play of Mario Party Superstars.
That we're about to show off the Daily Challenge first, and then afterwards we'll hit on to Survival Mode, so we'll see you guys next weekend.
Later, fellas.